Almost 6 out of 10 Americans don't have $1,000 or even $500 saved up to meet an emergency. That's terrible news since it means you might have to take out pointless loans or pay credit card interest if something goes wrong, and they might even increase by 20% or even 30%. Meanwhile, even individuals who do save money often report having a little emergency fund. Since we were quarantined indoors and paid to do nothing, savings soared during the epidemic era. Unfortunately, the biggest inflation in 4 decades is coming back to bite us. The Federal Reserve's efforts to maintain raising interest rates have not been successful thus far. Perhaps things could have been much worse if the federal government hadn't intervened. We have a problem. When over 60% of the population reports having less than $1,000 in savings, since that amount is probably not enough to meet basic living expenses such as rent. What measures do you have in place in case of illness, injury, or dismissal? In other words, what do you do? We get it. It is tough to put money away when there are so many temptations all around us. Now, we know you have a question in mind. What should I do to save money properly? And you are in luck, because for today's video, we will be sharing to you every wealth killer you need to avoid to save money the right way and avoid unnecessary spendings. This is Investing Path. And before we go on, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and bell button to stay updated for more of our uploads. Now, without further ado, let's get started. First, let us clarify that spending money is not entirely bad. It is not wrong to spend money on necessities or wants. Consumer spending is the engine that keeps the economy going. Deflation, which results from insufficient expenditure, slows economic growth. People often say they can't save because they have to pay for necessities, but then they go out and spend $5 a day on coffee and avocado toast. There is no harm in doing so. Once more, so long as you are setting aside a sizable portion of your salary. Since there is more to life than financial security, we are not a big fan of the concept of scrimping and saving every last cent. It is all about the memories, and enjoying oneself with another's companions includes financial expenditures and social interaction. However, if you are just starting out, you should not spend all of your money. You should put your money where your mouth is by building an asset base. Unfortunately, there are just a select few major budget drains that can truly devastate your financial security. You can save a ton of money and put that money toward building your fortune if you can only get rid of them. So, the first one you should think about before buying a car. To those who have done the math, a car is a significant financial commitment. In 2020, the typical monthly auto loan payment was $575, but that underestimates the real expense involved in keeping an automobile. This was in the year 2020. Since there is a shortage of chips and considerable inflation, the true cost is considerably more. You also have to factor in other expenses like gas, insurance, and most importantly, regular maintenance on top of the monthly payments. Additionally, being stopped in traffic every day while gas prices are high might add hundreds to your monthly expenses. It is obvious that having a family makes it necessary to have a car. If you are single, however, you should really put that cash aside and start investing instead. Next up is bad habits. Consider the amount of money spent on booze as an example. Spending $20 or $30 here and there may not seem like much. The average American spends roughly 1% of their annual gross income on alcoholic beverages, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The average family should expect to save $565 each year, $5,650 after 10 years, and a stunning $22,600 after 40 years. No, that doesn't sound like much, but don't let that figure deceive you. It accounts for the entire spectrum of American drinking behavior, from abstainers to binge drinkers. Therefore, if just heavy drinkers were counted, the figure would be significantly higher. Those who engage in alcohol use on a regular basis typically spend several $100s monthly on their habit. In the same way, Vices like smoking, gambling, and so on are not worth it. At an average of 6.28 a pack, the cost of maintaining a pack-a-day habit amounts to $188 per month, or $2,292 per year. While these figures may not be enough to convince you to break your bad behaviors, the opportunity cost likely will be. The strength of compound interest means that $2,292 invested annually in an index fund earning 7% will grow to $364,883 after 40 years. When you factor in the cost of treatment for your addiction, you might as well declare bankruptcy. Third on our list, in investing resources towards making a good impression, we understand that as social beings, it is important to us that others appreciate us. All of our insecurities contribute to our desire for esteem. When we feel inadequate and can figure out how to improve our situation, we may resort to lavish displays of wealth to prove to the world that we belong. Do you know why so many people buy Rolex timepieces? Let us be honest. A Rolex watch only solves one problem, telling time. But even Rolex owners check their phones to see what time it is. Even so, the company has effectively positioned itself as a premium label worn by Hollywood's elite, so consumers are willing to shell out tens of thousands of dollars for a single item. As a result, we shell out the cash to demonstrate our affluence to those around us. If you want a Rolex, we know that you could easily buy one. The typical buyer of such a timepiece is trying to show off, which is fine if you have the means to do so. But if you are on the verge of bankruptcy and yet decide to buy a Mercedes, you have just put yourself into a massive financial crisis. Fourth on our list is having to dish out a lot of money in interest. Credit cards are quite useful. This is the most effective strategy for raising and keeping a high credit score, because of its significance in facilitating the acquisition of loans at reduced rates of interest. This is crucial information to have. But now comes the worst part. If you use a credit card to buy stuff you can't afford, you'll end up carrying a balance at the end of the month and accruing interest charges. Do you know how high the interest rates are on credit cards? A rise of 20 to 30% is possible. If you compare the interest rate on your credit card to your mortgage, the latter would appear like chump change. This may not seem like a big concern, but 41% of the people who use credit cards say they are frequently or always late with payments, and the banks are betting on it. What they want is for you to forget. This explains why Americans owe close to $1 trillion on their credit cards. Don't apply for credit if you struggle to manage your finances. This is especially true if you have poor financial habits. And our top one is seeking after too many female companions. There will always be a lady nearby who piques your interest, and if you can't resist the temptation, you are doomed. Although there are many of them out there, you can only devote so much time and energy to each one. It doesn't take more than a second's thought to blow $100 million on a woman. No matter how much money you have, the time you could be spending on your business, side gig, or whatever it is that will bring you actual riches is far more valuable than any amount of money you could possibly have. It is fine having one lady by your side, but if you are single, engaging in bad habits, and partying every now and then, well, you will never be truly independent financially so long as you can resist the temptation to pursue too many women. These are just 5 out of many wealth killers, but if you have one in mind that you'd like to share as well, then go ahead and type it down in the comment section below. But besides that, thanks for watching. This is Investing Path, and if you like this video, please go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button for more of our personal financing and investment tips and updates for you. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in our next videos. Goodbye!